Hi, this is Marsha.
And this is Kelly.
We are the 2U's of 2U's Fiber Adventures. Thanks for stopping by.
You'll hear about knitting, spinning, dyeing, crocheting, and just about anything else we can think of as a way to play with string.
We blog and post show notes at 2usfiberadventures.com.
And we invite you to join our 2U's Fiber Adventures group on Ravelry. I'm 100 Projects.
And I am Better in Motion.
We're both on Instagram and Ravelry, and we look forward to meeting you there.
Enjoy the episode. Good morning, Kelly.
Good morning, Marsha.
Woohoo!
Coming
School's
to you
done.
from summer vacation.
Were you counting down the days this year as much as you have in the past?
No, actually, I was thinking about that. Nobody had to listen to me whining about how many weeks left in the semester. Of course, the last time we recorded was right after the Knockers retreat, so it's been almost a month. But it flew by, and all of a sudden, I was dumped into graduation. I mean, that's literally how it felt. Like one day I woke up and went, oh, wow, okay, graduation is tonight. And then the cool thing, so there's a nursery here in California that I have been a big fan of for a while. And you might be thinking, how can you be a fan of a nursery? But
oh, I can understand. I love a nursery.
I hadn't even been there, but I was a huge fan because they have a great website. It's called Las Pilitas, and they have a fantastic website with all kinds of information about native plants. And when I discovered it, it was like I could see pictures more than just what pictures people had put in books, right? Because I had some native plant books, but I didn't have the opportunity to really see what the plants were. And anyway, I learned so much from this website when I first got interested in native plants. And it's in Santa Margarita. And I discovered, they were on Instagram not long ago. And because they're on my Instagram feed, they were in my, sort of top of mind because I'd see pictures. And I didn't know this before. I knew they were closed during the pandemic, but they only open like during limited time frames because the summer in Santa Margarita, where they are, is very, very hot. And so they're closing at the end of this month. So I think tomorrow is their last, and they're only open on Saturdays. So tomorrow is their last Saturday of the season before they open back up in October. So I told Robert that, they're getting ready to close and I really wanted to go to the nursery. That was one of the things I wanted to do. So I just thought we were going to drive down for the day and get plants and then drive back. It's not that, I mean, it's just past Paso Robles. So maybe 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours. So it's a jaunt. It's not somewhere you'd go every weekend, but it's not too far to go in one day. Well, anyway, he decided we should actually stay overnight. And so we went down and we stayed in Cambria. And just so happened it was also our anniversary. So he planned a trip. So he whisked me away after graduation. I was all packed and he just came to graduation, picked me up, and we left to go to Cambria. Yeah. So we stayed at Cambria Shores, which is right on Moonstone Beach Drive. So overlooking, we were on the east side of the street, but just on the other side of the street is the boardwalk, and it's not beach like you can go down there and walk the dogs on the beach because the dogs aren't allowed. They're allowed on the boardwalk. I mean, we didn't even go down on the beach. There's much more beach there than there used to be. I think there used to be more bluffs, and the bluffs have eroded over the years. Beautiful location, very dog friendly. I mean, there were dogs everywhere at this hotel. So we had a great time. Got there Friday night. Saturday morning, we got up and left to go to the nursery, bought a whole bunch of plants, which we still have to plant. We're doing gardening so we can have a space to, clear out the weeds and overgrown things. Anyway, so we went to the beach or the nursery on Saturday, And then we spent also Saturday night and Sunday night and came home Monday. So yeah, it was really fun.
Nice.
It was a fun way to start my summer vacation. So, and then I came home, and Tuesday I had 2 meetings at work, and Wednesday and Thursday I had a meeting each day. Today's the first day I haven't had meetings after the vacation started, but that's fine. So yeah, I'm on summer vacation.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like it was a nice trip to the nursery and the beach, and
Yeah, it was.
happy anniversary.
Thank you.
This is a big one, right?
Number 40. Mm-hmm.
Woohoo!
Yeah. Yeah. So
Well, it was a fun wedding all those years ago.
and Betty asked us when we got home, did you bring your Frisbee? Because we had.
Did you see my comment on Instagram that I still have my Frisbee?
Oh no, I didn't see that.
I still have it.
We have one in the garage. Robert did not bring it to play Frisbee on the lawn.
Okay, just so people know what we're talking about, 40 years ago, when you got married, at the reception, you had all these red Frisbees printed up with your name and the wedding date on it. And Robert stood at the head of the table and threw the Frisbees to everybody in the room.
And there were wine glasses already on the table. It's like, oh my God.
Yes.
Yeah.
And my father was so horrified and then impressed when he saw what was it, like, oh my gosh, the wine glasses. But then he was so impressed with Robert's ability to throw a Frisbee, his accuracy.
He's pretty,
anyway.
pretty good. Yeah, we were,
good, yeah.
And that was back in the day where people really didn't have odd favors, like you got those almonds, stuff like that, So yeah, I can't remember, a friend of my mom and Dennis's, her dad did the imprinted stuff. And I can't remember how it even came up, this idea. Because it's not like we were like on a Frisbee team or anything like that. I mean, it wasn't like, we had a specific love of Frisbees, but I just thought it would be really cool. We had the wedding was in a park. And somehow this idea came up that we could have Frisbees printed, and it was like, okay, that's what we're doing. So yeah, 40 years ago, I was a lot younger then.
I was too. But let's not speak of unpleasant things about how much we've aged in 40 years.
Correct.
Anyway. No, I think I think, Kelly, you look the same to me. I think, and would you say that I look the same to you?
We look
all
exactly
these years,
the same.
I think we're
until I go look at pictures.
I think we're completely unchanged. If I never look at a picture of us from 1984, I think we look exactly the same way we did. Well, as everybody knows, I was visiting you. I had quite a road trip. I was gone almost a month. I think 3 days shy of a month.
And then you have more travels to tell us about.
Yes. So what I was going to say, Kelly, I meant to call you and mention this to you, is that when I came home, I went up Highway 1, crossed the Golden Gate Bridge, and then I cut over and I went up 101 and cut up. And then when I cut back over to Highway 1, I don't remember now the name of the highway, the number of the highway, but it goes through the Anderson Valley. Have you ever been through there? And the reason I'm suggesting it to you is that the Anderson Valley is full of wineries, and and they're all really close, like a 4-mile stretch. And I was thinking about you and Harvest Host. I didn't ask anybody about Harvest Host, but I was thinking you should check it out and see if it's a bit of a distance to go. When you're going to the wineries with your mom and Dennis, aren't you going south pretty much? Or
our most recent trip was south toward Paso Robles to San Miguel. But there's also one in Lodi, which is north of us, or there's a couple of them in Lodi that we've stayed at, which is north of us by about maybe 2.5 hours with the trailer, maybe closer to 3 with the trailer. It's not quite that. It takes longer with the trailer, obviously. Lodi is just like near Stockton. And there's a lot of wineries there. But yeah, I've been in the Anderson Valley, but not to do any wine tasting. I've been through that area. But I'm sure there's Harvest Host sites there. I'll have to look.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's spectacular. It's so beautiful. That Anderson Valley is gorgeous. And then I did stop at some wineries, and one of the wineries I stopped at is called Navarro. And I went into they have a gift shop, and I went in there and they had yarn.
Oh.
And so I bought a skein of yarn, but I asked about the yarn. Anyway, they have sheep on the property that graze between the vines.
Oh, yeah.
And what they do is they keep the grass and weeds down naturally, and they also fertilize a bit too. Mm-hmm. Then what they do is they, of course, have to shear them, and they produce yarn. So I got a skein of yarn. I'll put a link in there in the show notes to the winery and to the yarn too. So that was kind of cool.
That is cool
to see that. And anyway, and then I cut back, as I say, Anderson Valley, the highway that goes through the Anderson Valley links 101 back to 1. And then I continued up 1 to, and do you remember, Kelly, then you go over that super windy road that takes you back to to 101, and you come out at Leggett, I believe.
Yes.
I did that, and then I think at Eureka, I then just scooted back over to I-5, spent the night in Eugene, and then I just shot home the next day because I was ready. So then I was home about 6 days, which my 6 days I was home was basically regrouping to leave again. So doing laundry and repacking, getting dog food and all this kind of stuff. And then we left. We went down to the Washington coast, down to the Seabrook, the community that we always go to. So we were down there with my brother and Kim, and then Enzo and Kim's dog, Orkney. So we were down there for a week. And that was fun.
Yeah, it looked fun. I saw your pictures.
I didn't have enough wine tasting in the Anderson Valley, so they actually had, on Saturday, they had a wine tasting event where they closed one of the streets and had 19 wineries there. And so we did a wine tasting there. And
fun.
I bought a little bit. But now I'm kind of done with the wine tasting. It's just too much. After a while, it's like, too much. But anyway, that was super fun. And then our friend Jean, who you know, that used to have the yarn shop in Seabrook, which is now closed. But she met us on the beach with her dog, Cooper, who you've met. He's an English setter, black and white. He's adorable. And he's kind of a goofball too. Did you see the video of him running on the beach?
Yes.
He's so lumbering. I don't know. He's just adorable. He's so sweet. And, but I started talking to her about the shop and all the yarn that was left over. And she's talked about this in the past, that she has a garage full of yarn. So I said to her, well, I need some yarn for that baby sweater, because I still have not started the baby sweater. And so she said, well, come on over and look. So Kim and I went over and went through the bins and picked out a bunch of yarn, something for a baby sweater. And then I got 3 sweater quantities. I won't go into all of it, but I then said, well, what do we owe her? And she said, oh, just take it. She gave us all this yarn.
Oh my gosh.
There was some blue sky. I got blue sky, and what was the other one I got? Oh, I can't remember, but there's 3 different ones. Oh, I know what I also got too. A sweater quantity of, do you remember the woman who had, I think it was I can't remember the name of it, but it was the mill that we visited in Brady. And then she was moving to Cosmopolis, where she... Mm-hmm. So I don't know where her yarn is anymore, but Jean used to carry her yarn. And so I got a sweater quantity. I think there was 11 balls. I think they're it's worsted weight, about 100 yards per ball. And I got 11 of those. Nice. So, and I don't even see her yarn anywhere anymore. So I got that.
Yeah, I wonder what happened. This
fun.
Was before the pandemic that she was going to open the
yes,
shop and mill in Cosmopolis.
Yes, and her mill wasn't like Olympic Fiber Mill or
I don't remember.
Like
yeah,
and we talked about it. when we right after that tour, because we spent the day with her. Remember, we had lunch and it was super fun. And then what she done is Cosmopolis is right near Aberdeen in Washington, and she had bought the old town hall, and was getting new equipment from Italy and they were going to set it up in the back of the town hall, and then the front of the town hall was split. Half of it was a deli, and the other half was a women's dress shop. And
wasn't there a cafe? Wasn't there a cafe too?
Yeah, cafe, deli kind of thing.
Okay, yeah.
They were serving coffee and sandwiches.
That's
right. Yeah. So anyway, I was kind of excited to get that, but Jean just gave us that yarn, which is very sweet of her. I think she was happy to get it out of her garage. And I think her husband was happy to get it. So to find somebody to use it, because he shouldn't just be sitting there. So I have to get going on knitting some sweaters. Just what I need, Kelly. 3 more sweater quantities of yarn.
Oh, goodness.
Anyway, I can't die because I have all this yarn to use up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like the Winchester Mystery House. I'll never die if I always have yarn in my stash that I have to use.
Exactly.
So anyway, I'm home for a while, and it feels kind of good. I had a great time on my road trip, and I had a great time at the beach, but it also feels good just to be home, too.
Yeah, this is the first time I've talked to you since you left.
Yeah,
yeah. I saw pictures of your trip home, but never really heard anything about it. And then, nice. I'm glad you were able to do that. You've talked about doing that a few times that you've been down here.
Yeah, every time I've driven down, I've always say to myself, I'm going to drive up the coast.
Mm-hmm.
And I never do it. And so I made myself do it this time. Anyway, okay. On to business. Should we get going on to the real part of the podcast?
Yeah. Before we do, though, I just want to welcome 2 new Patreon members. We have Carrie and Rebecca, who have both joined our Patreon group. And I just wanted to say welcome to both of you.
Yes, welcome.
It's we very much appreciate your support.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. So projects, Marsha.
Yes. Who wants to go first?
You can go ahead.
Okay. Well, I don't have a whole lot to talk about. The Nanny Meier tea cozy. So I had to tell you, I should have looked this up before we started recording, but one of our listeners was laughing about the tea cozy, about when I was talking about the rabbit and the hare, that, the last episode, how like I've never finished those. And one of our listeners made a comment in the thread that the same thing could be said about tea cozies. So I think it was on Tuesday, I said to myself, I'm going to finish that tea cozy before we record. Well, I didn't quite finish it, but I finished the main body of it, and now I'm doing the decreases. And so this morning I was knitting on it, and I thought I just can't finish it. So it's not technically done, but I think for this episode, I'm going to say it's done. I have probably 5 more rows, and then I just need to sew it together.
Well, we have a theme going when we get to my projects of almost finished. So.
Well, it was funny because I thought this is not exactly it, but I'm going to say I got kind of shamed into finishing it. That's not really true. I wasn't really shamed into it, but it made me laugh. It's like, that tea cozy's been on there for a really long time. Yes. So I'm going to try and finish it. So
by next episode, the tea cozy will be off the list.
Yes, I'm going to take it off. Well, in fact, I'm going to call it finished, and I will post a picture of it in the...
okay.
Finish it today,
so you'll finish it
probably.
Before the show notes are done, you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I have to have this pressure put on me. Anyway, okay. So, on here is also that Camella hat. I haven't even talked about that in the longest time, and I realize I can't get back on it. It's one of those hats where you have all of these twisted stitches to make the patterning. I won't even talk about that one. Today, when I was updating the show notes before we had our call, I just typed in here, don't really like it, thinking of frocking. I've decided I'm frocking it. I don't even like the hat. and I can't get back on track. And if it's that, it should not be, knitting should not be that frustrating.
Especially not a hat.
Yeah, I'm done with it. So I'm going to take that yarn and do something else. Fine sand. I know you saw that you mentioned in the show notes that I was supposed to try it on for you. And because I brought it to California, and we never found time for me to try it on. And so I've been thinking about it, and I decided I'm going to frog it. I don't like the sweater. I'm never going to wear it. I don't like the way I think the Fine Sand by Heidi Kirrmaier is meant for cotton or linen.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it'd be okay because other people have used wool for the sweater, but I think it's too springy. It doesn't lay correctly. So I'm going to just take it apart and I'm going to make something else. Cause as I've talked about before, I love that yarn. It's just so luscious. And it's too bad to keep it in a sweater that I'm never going to wear. So, that's it. It's going to get frogged at some point. Still working on the socks. On my trip, I didn't even pick up those socks that I was working on. The baby surprise jacket, I haven't even started it, but
you have the yarn now. Yeah.
I have the yarn. And I think I talked about this, that the baby has arrived, George, and he was born, I think he's a month old now. And he weighed 4.5 pounds when he was born. So he's a tiny little thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll have to figure out what size I'm going to make. But at some point, whatever size I make, at some point he'll wear it.
Right.
Just so I get it done before he goes off to college. And
and it probably should be sooner than that too, because I doubt you have the yarn for a full size young man.
No. But it seems like it's a really interesting pattern. So it seems like it's going to be sort of like the chicken, the emotional support chicken, where it's an odd shape and then it all sort of comes together at the end is how everybody's sort of describing it.
Well, and it also seems like it's kind of like a blank slate in that way too. The same way that the chicken is, where you can do different yarns, you can add stripes, you can leave off stripes, you can do all sorts of things. You can let the yarn do the work. You can put in your own design. That baby surprise jacket seems like a real good pattern to get kind of addicted to. Not saying that you will, but once you make it looks like once you make one, you have ideas, kind of like the chicken. You have ideas of what you could do on the next one. Yeah. And since you mentioned the chicken, I just want to say, because everybody's doing different things on the chickens, the emotional support chicken. I just saw on Instagram this morning, someone posted a picture of their chicken, and actually they embroidered the finished chicken, which is an interesting idea too. Another thing, so they just embroidered flowers and like around the neck, all these details and stuff. So I think that's a really, that's kind of an interesting idea too. Yeah,
to do that. And then I'm sitting here right now knitting on the Mountain High with my combo spin. So I have finished the body and I'm halfway, actually 3/4 of the way on the first sleeve.
Nice.
So I'm making progress on that. And then I did a lot of spinning at the retreat on my other combo spin, the one that's in the red colors. But I didn't actually get to plying it. But at the beach, I applied 2 skeins. And I have, about 640 yards. And I think it's probably somewhere between a sport and a DK weight. I'm not sure. And it's very pretty. I really am just struck by how beautiful these. Yeah, really pretty. So, I now have, I have to spin I have a little bit of fiber left and I have to fill up sort of balance my bobbins to finish. So I'll probably get, at least one more skein that size out of what I have left and then a bit more.
Nice.
But I just for the spinners out there, you probably know this. I just didn't think about this. And you brought it up, Kelly, is those bobbins for the e-spinner are big. And so I fill 2 of them full. And then you made the comment, and it's true, is you probably should fill them about half full and keep your fiber in reserve, because I started spinning the 3rd one and I don't think it's going to be a full bobbin. And so if you're just doing a 2-ply, it's probably not a big deal, because you could probably just, what's left over, wind it into a cake and pull from the center and the outside. But if you're doing a 3-ply, I'm going to have an issue if I run out of the 3rd bobbin. What do I do with those other 2? I'm going to have to take I imagine what I'll do, if there's one that has more singles on it, I will have to wind that into a cake.
Yeah.
Pull from the inside and the outside, and then the other one, and try and make a 3-ply.
Yeah.
With a cake and a bobbin. I don't know. So I think, note to self, next time, don't fill. If you're going to do a 3-ply, don't try and fill 3 bobbins full. Just do them half full. And you mentioned that. Just always keep some fiber in reserve, so you can keep balancing them out.
And I have learned that. That's just a trick that I started fairly recently with the spinning that I've been doing from the fleeces that I have. And before, I would weigh it and, put the same weight of fiber on each bobbin, but you still run out. My spinning it's fairly consistent, but it's not consistent enough that I really get to the end and it's very rare that I get to the end and I'm just pretty much even on all 3 bobbins. And so I did that kind of accidentally, because I just had so much fiber, right? I wasn't going to spin it all. And so when I got to the end of one bobbin, I just could spin a little more. And I thought, okay, that's what I really should do, is save out fiber so I can equalize the bobbins at the end. And so that's what that's a trick that I learned not soon enough for the 3-plies, but I have done a lot of times what you're talking about, where I make a center pull ball out of one and then ply that with the other one. And then when I get down to just one bobbin, then I just make a chain ply and use it for, it's like my emergency. If I have yarn chicken issues, I'll use the chain ply, because it's usually different, or different enough that you wouldn't want to use it in the main body of the project. But
you could maybe cuffs, or seaming or something.
Yeah, or the bind off, if you needed just enough to finish binding off or something. Yeah. That's a note to self. It's much harder to not waste yarn when it's a 3-ply. But then the other thing that people do is they just keep what's left on their bobbin. If you have enough bobbins, you can do this. Just keep what's left on the bobbin, and then at a certain point, you just wind, just spin on your other bobbins leftovers onto this one bobbin. Just run it through your wheel.
Okay.
Just run it through your wheel and add it onto that same bobbin. So then all your leftovers are on one bobbin, or 2 if you have enough. Just save up leftovers, and then you just spin like a 2-ply of all your leftovers.
Oh, okay.
So I just throw my leftovers away, but I don't like to have a lot of leftovers anymore. I used to save them because I have a lot of bobbins. And I can remember having 4 or 5 bobbins with leftovers on them that I didn't even remember what they were. It had been so long since I spun the yarn. And, when I first started spinning, it was like, oh, that'll never happen. I'll remember every detail of every spin. That's not the case. Anymore. Yeah. So now I just get rid of leftovers. But
I've never really had this issue, because the bobbins for the little Herbie are just their Ashford bobbins, and I don't know what they hold, but they don't hold anywhere what the bobbins on the e-spinner hold. So
if you do have waste, it's very little. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, let me think. I think that's it for projects for me.
All right. So my projects are, as I said, almost finished. Lots of them.
Yay.
So what I'm working on right now is the acrylic classic ripple Afghan blanket. The one that has been dubbed the weird Barbie blanket. Mm-hmm. And I'm actually binding off.
Oh.
So
wow.
Yeah. As we're talking, I'm binding off. I did one row since we've been chatting. I've done one row and now I'm on the bind off row. I'm not totally happy with the end of it because as you run out of yarn, you can't make big stripes. And so I have bigger stripes at one end and then small stripes at the, this edge has small stripes. And I was hoping to get like a big stripe and then end it. And I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't plan well enough.
Okay.
But I'm not ripping it back because it's an acrylic blanket. It's not a masterpiece.
Right.
So I'm not going to rip back and because I could rip back and make a different striping choice and then have a bigger stripe at the end, but I'm not. So it has like a couple of small stripes at the end, but I think it'll be fine. I mean, I'm not, there it is. It'll be fine.
In this,
I won't love it as much as I would love it if I had planned better.
Yeah.
But I'm not keeping it.
So I was say in this case, we always laugh that if you have to say, I think it'll be okay, that means you have to rip it out or do something, right? But in this case, it's not, it's a donation. So it's fine.
It will be something I would notice if I was keeping it and I was using it. It'd be like, okay, well, I'm noticing this, but there are so many different size stripes in it that unless I told you, I don't think you would notice. Yeah. And then the other thing I did is I stopped using the pink because the first part of it, I didn't use any pink. I just used gray and black and red. And then I realized I was going to have to use some of the white and pink. So I have the white and pink. And then I stopped using the pink and started just with the black and gray stripes and then the red little accent borders toward the end. So that part of it, the fact that the pink is mostly in the middle, that I do like how that worked, but I didn't plan well enough for the size of my stripes. I'm surprised that I ran out of yarn as soon as I did because it felt like I had so much yarn. But anyway, so I'm almost done with this.
So are we calling it done for the podcast?
Well, I still have ends to weave in and I have to wash it, but by the time we get off the call, I'll be done with the knitting. Yeah.
And so we're going to call it done.
Okay. We'll call it
done.
I am going to give myself a deadline for all of these things that are almost done, that by the end of May, by June 1st, when June 1st dawns, they will all be finished. Finished, washed, blocked, ends woven in. All
and out of the house?
I don't think the blanket will be out of the house yet because there's no school until summer school doesn't start. And I think that's what I'm going to do with it is bring it to the giveaway table that they have at one of the at the student center. And there will be nobody there. So I don't think I'll do that yet, but maybe. I mean, I guess it's possible. I have a couple of other things to block that I made a long time ago and haven't ever been blocked. So I'm going to do some blocking. So anyway, that's this. Let me get to those other things that are almost finished. So this baby blanket will not be on the project list at the next episode.
Okay.
And then I have the boucle chicken. And I don't remember. I think I had just started it last time. I had done the bottom.
Yeah, I think so.
Of the boucle chicken. I don't even think I had started the body because we were together. It was right after the retreat. So I finished the body of the boucle chicken, and I can highly recommend doing that bottom part first. It felt so good to know that I didn't have to knit anything more when I was done with the beak, that all I had to do was sew it up. But I haven't sewn it up yet. I sewed the head. I put the eyes in. I sewed down to the breastbone, so it's still in its kind of spatchcock. Actually, it looks to me a lot like a chicken taking a dust bath because it has a head, but the body's totally flat. And the first time I saw the chickens in the middle of a dust bath where they kind of just lay there, you know, while they're doing the dust bath, you can tell they're alive because they're moving, right? They're kicking up dust. But then they kind of stop and they just lay there and soak up the sun, or I don't know, soak up the dust. I don't know what they're doing. But the first time I saw the chickens just laying there all flat like that with their wings out in that dust bath position, I did think I had a dead chicken. So this is what this boucle chicken looks like at the moment. And I didn't put any stripes in it. I just made it totally, the tail, the body, the head, everything is this boucle yarn. And it's really a nice yarn. It's a wool silk, wool and silk blend. Maybe there's something else in it. Mohair. Wool and mohair and silk blend. Really nice. And actually, as I was knitting it, I was thinking, it was spirit yarn I got from the D-stash at Knockers. And as I was knitting with it, I thought, oh, this would make a nice jacket. Like a cardigan, jacket style cardigan. It's just so poofy, and it would be warmer than, you know, like a polar fleece, I think. And just really nice. And not as itchy as I thought once I was knitting with it. It's just a really nice. So I went and looked at the label. I have no idea if it's available anywhere, how old it is. Even the composition, I had not really looked at the yarn, and the composition is wool and silk and mohair. Okay. So that I might have a boucle jacket in my future if I can find a nice boucle yarn like this one. I mean, there's clearly not enough of this to do.
Well, maybe you order some from the company.
Yeah, I'll have to look. I'll have to look it up and see. But the chicken is almost done.
All right.
So it has a lot more to do than this blanket that I'm, you know, close to. Although I'm so not as close as I thought. I think I'm going to have a yarn chicken moment.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
live. A live yarn chicken
moment. Yes, a live yarn chicken moment. Shoot. Well, I'll keep going and see. Maybe I can find some other gray. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna put it away because I don't want to have yarn chicken. I don't want to end up having to rip out a whole bind off.
Yeah, that's no fun.
So anyway, the boucle chicken is almost done, and then I have the shawl that I was knitting, the Drifter by Tammy Gore, and it's the one that I started while I was at the Dream Conference in Orlando, and it's done, except I have to weave in ends and block it. So almost done, almost done, and those are really my. Oh, nope, one more.
Okay,
that I didn't put in the show notes. My spinning project is also close to being done, and I'm going to have this done by June 1st as well. So I had a merino Targhee Corriedale cross fleece that I washed and dyed and carded during the summer spin-in last summer, and then I had the bats in the studio in those paper boxes, you know, the ones that reams of paper come in. And I got tired of moving the boxes around. And I thought, why am I not spinning this? So I started, so I spun some more of it. Anyway, I'm on the last batch of the fiber. It's orange. I was calling it red orange, but now that it's spun, it's more like sort of a muddy orange. It's really pretty. I like the color of it a lot. And it's going to be a 3-ply. So I've got 3 bobbins full. I've got some extra fiber saved out, like we were talking about. And now I just have to ply. I just have to ply it. And so I think I'll get 2 skeins out of this, and it will go with the other skeins that I have already finished. This is the last bit of this yarn from my fiber stash.
Okay.
So that'll be cool. I'll have another batch of fiber out of the fiber stash, and I'll be ready to figure out what I'm going to do for the summer spin-in.
Okay.
But that's why I have a June 1st deadline for all of it, because I want to start June 1st sort of fresh with fresh projects for the, fresh, especially spinning projects.
Okay.
So, and then I have a pair of socks, just, the normal socks on the needles. I'm calling these my wine and cheese socks because the yarn is the color of wine, kind of a burgundy purpley color, and yellow, like cheddar cheese.
Okay.
Mixed together. Mostly purple, but
Okay.
it does have some of the gold in there. So those are my projects.
I would say this is a nice segue into our events, so because you mentioned the summer spin-in, you're getting ready for that. We've talked about it before, I believe, but it starts Memorial Day, which is May 27th. We actually have the thread up already, and it ends Labor Day, which is September 2nd. So you're planning on what you're going to be spinning, right? And I don't really know what I'm going to be spinning. I did buy, on my road trip, I did stop in Redlands, California at a yarn shop, and I bought a braid there. I may spin that. But I think really, Kelly, what I should do, well, I'm going to say it because there's also like what you really want to do and what you should do. But I was thinking what I should do is I had started carding the dark sort of espresso colored wool. I think it's the cross that you did. I've been carding that. And then when I went to DC, and long story, but I now have a chandelier hanging over my carder and I can't get to it. So I think I'm going to have to figure out how to get rid of that chandelier that appeared. That's another whole story about how that appeared. But anyway, so I think maybe I'd like to start carding that wool and spinning that, because I started, but I've not finished. So that would be a good summer project.
Yeah.
You can
and that is a really nice. Yeah. And that's a really nice spin. That's the one I spun last year, the Wensleydale Cormo cross. Wensleydale Cormo, and maybe something else from Peggy Agnew, I think is her name.
Yeah.
Red Creek fibers. Anyway, that was a really nice fiber to spin. You're going to like it. So that's a good project for you to have, I think. So that's what you need to do, but what is it that you want to do?
Oh, I don't know. I bought this braid in Redlands. I'm not prepared, so I don't remember now what it is, but it's silk and wool and something else. I think bamboo. And
is it just one? It's just one braid?
One braid.
Oh my God, Marsha. So when you finish your combo spin, do your one braid, just like real quick. That will be a real quick.
Yes, and I think what I want to do is, do you remember the infamous 2 braids I was told I had to buy? And I spent a lot of effort doing like the fractal spinning. So I split the braid in half and just spun that one half. And then the other one I split into, I don't know, 4 or 5 or whatever. But I don't think that the braid was very tonal. And so I think that there was a lot of effort went into that for no real reason. But this braid is very bright colors, hot pink and yellow and lime green, really bright colors, and very clear definition between the colors. So I think I might try that again, where I just split the braid in half. And yeah, so I might do that. And And then the other thing is
that'll go real quickly.
When we were at the Knockers retreat in the D-stash room, there was all those little braids of 1 ounce braids, or actually they're smaller than that. I think they're a 1/2 ounce braids from Greenwood. Is it Greenwood Fiber Studio or Greenwood? And I think those were from Pat. And so I was kind of interested in spinning those. I was thinking of just doing a combo spin out of those, but I kind of think maybe not. What I kind of think I might do is just spin the braid. One of the thoughts is, I think it would look too muddy if I just spun all of those colors together. I don't know. My other thought was, if you pick out hot colors and cool colors, separate sort of light colors and do a combo spin with those. My other thought was just spin each braid as a 2-ply individually, and then just combine them, start striping them or something, and for hats or something.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. And then I don't know if this was from Pat, but there was also just a big bag of just, again, these bright hot colors that I was thinking of just spinning those some way. I'm not sure. And then there was the bag of mohair. I was thinking of using the blending board and blending those. So there's all kinds of things I can, I'm thinking about. And I have a lot of fleeces that are washed and I've never done anything with them, or that haven't even been washed yet. So I have lots of options, but I have to say sometimes spinning with the with the colors is more interesting, just because you get to watch that color change. But I've done so much of it. It might be kind of refreshing just to do a solid color like this, the cross that we were talking about. So I have lots. It's not like there's a shortage of fiber here in my house.
No, that's true. And there's also, you can also dye some of the fiber that you have if you feel like you need something more interesting.
Yeah.
If you wanted to focus on your fleeces and you wanted something more interesting than just a solid color. You have some lighter ones that you could dye. Yeah, I was looking through my fleece inventory that I made last year, and I have 13 fleeces plus some leftovers. So after today's plying, maybe it'll take a couple days of plying, this one batch of leftovers will be gone. And then I'm trying to decide which fleece I want to focus on. And I'm thinking 2 things. So I have the Targhee lamb leftovers that are the same fleece that I used for my dark and stormy, that brown sweater that I have. And I think I'm going to, well, I don't know. I thought, maybe I'll just compost those leftovers. They're all carded and everything, but that fleece is it fades. It's not very light fast. Just in my normal wearing of the sweater, walking to work, back and forth, sitting outside, sometimes at work, wearing the sweater or wearing the sweater outside. It's not like I wear it to go hiking or I wear it to garden in. It's just normal everyday wear. I already have quite a lot of fading of the fleece. And I knew that from the tips and also from a sample I spun and just kind of left languishing on bobbins for a long, long time. It faded pretty badly. So I knew that was going to happen, or I kind of knew that was going to happen. So I'm not sure what I want to do with that fleece. It's like I said, it's carded already. I think most of it or all of it might be carded. And I thought about blending it. I have some alpaca that I could blend it with, and I thought that might be nice. So I'm not sure. I'm not ready to compost it yet, but looking at how much is in my stash, I'm kind of wondering, do I really want to use something that I know is going to fade? And most of that fleece is gone. I've used most of it because I did make that dark and stormy, and it was a lamb fleece, so it was small. But then I have 2 things, and I talked about this in the thread, the summer spin and thread on Ravelry. I have two things that I'm kind of thinking about. And one of them is the East Frisian fleece that I bought last year. Maybe three things that I'm thinking about. One of them is the East Frisian fleece that I bought last year, and I've never spun an East Frisian. The other one is the Swint bath project.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I've talked about this where I washed that Shetland that I bought at Lambtown. I washed it with a Swint bath, and I was thinking about taking a section of it and washing it more and then spinning both and seeing if I can tell the difference. So there's that. That would be kind of fun. And then there's a fleece called Jazzman that Judith McKenzie
Oh, right. I remember.
disqualified, or I don't know if she disqualified or she didn't place it.
Well, because
She gushed about it like crazy.
Yeah, she said it was in
and
the
then
wrong
said
category, right?
that it was in the wrong class.
Yeah.
Yes, they had it in the medium wool class or something. I can't remember what the classes are at Black Sheep. They're different than the ones that they have at the Monterey Fairgrounds. But anyway, whatever class it was in, it was too soft, too fine for that class.
Yeah.
And so she didn't place it. And it's like 10 pounds, I think. I don't have my little inventory book with me, but I think it's like 10 pounds and it's variegated. And I washed it up. I washed up a good portion of it last summer, and it's just beautiful. It feels so nice. So I'm eager to get started with that one. And there's a part of me that just wants to grab some and spin it. And then I also met a woman who was wearing a sweater, and she said every year she has a fleece and she designs a project with the fleece, and it sounded very admirable, but it doesn't sound like me.
Yeah.
But I thought, this fleece has a lot of colors in it. I could spin it. I could spin the different colors. It's a big fleece, so I could do a lot of things with it. I mean, I would have enough to do whatever I want with it. So I could do more than one thing.
Yeah.
But I was thinking it might be fun to spin it into, there's a sweater I like called Thornley with 11 different colors. It's like a vest, a long vest, dress kind of thing. People have done it at all different lengths. But anyway, it's all over color work that uses 11 colors.
Okay.
And I thought it would be kind of fun to spin 11 colors or spin and dye 11 colors, over dyeing the gray and make something like the Thornley. And I might not want it as long as it is because I'm not that tall, but anyway, it's very appealing. And that idea of, designing out the project and all the colors I'm going to spin and which ones I'm going to dye and how am I going to put them together sounds really impressive. But it also sounds a little bit less fun than just grabbing.
Sounds like a job.
Yeah. Sounds kind of like a job. You're right. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but it is a beautiful fleece, and I do want to do something. I do want to get at least some of it spun this summer because it's just so pretty, and I want to know what it's going to look like in yarn. So yeah, I've been thinking about that, and then of course I have my weaving project to do to get the rest of the curtains done. And I ordered, I'm going to send you some yarn, Marsha.
Oh, you are?
Weaving yarn. I ordered a red that I thought was different from all the other red I have, which I have a lot of red that is kind of Christmas red color. And I thought I was buying one that was going to be more brick type red, or, that brown red. Anyway, so I have another cone that's exactly the same reds as I already had. Oh. So I think I'll send you some red.
Okay.
Do you have any red weaving yarn in your stash?
I do not have any red. I have
Okay.
I think I when Kim and I went to Red Alder and Eugene Textile Mill was there, I believe I bought a rust and like a burgundy, but I don't have a red, like a Christmas red. So
Okay, so I'll send you this red.
Okay.
Because I don't need any more of this color of red in my stash. I do have enough. And I also ordered, when I ordered the red, I ordered a dark burgundy and a lighter burgundy, and then I threw in a pink because I thought whatever leftovers I have, it would be kind of nice to have that color for some more design choices. So I think I'm going to use the dark burgundy in the curtains. And so that's on my horizon as a project for this summer. And then my quilt. Oh, I didn't talk about my quilt. So you got shamed into finishing your tea cozy, and I got a comment about in the Out-of-Hibernation-Along. How's that quilt coming?
I like the fact that our listeners hold us accountable.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. So I have the quilt out. I got it out of the closet, and I have it hanging on the door behind me, to absorb the echoes while we're recording. And then it's going to come down and sit on the couch so that I can at least get something of it accomplished before the June 1st end of the Out-of-Hibernation-Along. So there's another one. It's not almost finished, but I am going to get it back out and do something on it before that Out-of-Hibernation-Along is finished. Because I actually would like to finish the quilt this summer. That would be a nice project for to know that I was finished. So,
well, that is a good segue into the Out-of-Hibernation-Along. However, I'm going to take a step back. Something that you said earlier about your fleeces, you referred to it, your inventory. And all of a sudden, when you said that, I thought to myself, I think we should start referring to our stashes as inventory. It sounds less like we're hoarders, right? Isn't that a much more, positive way of looking at our inventory than our stash? Anyway,
and it was fun because I got out a little notebook and I went through them all and I wrote in all the details about all of them, what year I got them, how much I have, where it's stored. So I know I have this batch of carded, this many ounces that I've carded and it's in a box. And I have this many ounces of what I sorted out as the best stuff from this fleece. And it's in a pillowcase inside of the burlap bag with the rest of the fleece. And so I kind of put details there so I can just look, instead of having to drag them all out, I can just look on my little notebook and see maybe I should work on my oldest fleece this summer. All those different ways that you can decide what you're going to do next. But it's been kind of fun to have my inventory listed in a notebook where I can take a look at it. Because I don't keep the fleeces in Ravelry. I don't know why. Maybe because when I go out there to look at them, it's easier to have a notebook than the computer.
Yeah. Okay. So Out-of-Hibernation-Along. We've talked about a lot of things. But Kelly, when are we actually ending this? Because I was looking at the notes. Is ending in about a week. June 1st.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to add that in there. So June 1st. So we are recording
and it's currently the 24th.
Yeah.
This will probably go out by the 26th, so there will not be much time.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this when it first comes out, and you had something you wanted to get out of hibernation, you better act quickly.
Okay. So, with that, what else?
I think that's it.
Okay.
I think we talked about the summer spin-in. That's starting. The Out-of-Hibernation-Along is ending. And we have a bunch of almost finished projects.
Well, we'll count them finished, but...
we're calling them finished,
yeah, just because we
Because you won't see them. You won't see them next time.
No.
We will report in sparingly about them. Just to say everything we called finished last time is still finished. Or we might have to report that something that we called finished is still unfinished.
Oh, dear. I hope not. Anyway. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'd like to have a whole clean slate.
Yeah.
With only the socks.
Yeah.
By our next episode. So we'll see.
Okay. All righty. Well, we will.
All right, Marsha.
We'll talk. Okay. Bye.
Yes. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. To subscribe to the podcast, visit 2usfiberadventures.com.
Join us on our adventures on Ravelry and Instagram. I am Better in Motion, and Kelly is 100 Projects.
Until next time, we're the 2 U's
Doing our part for World Fleece.